Hi there, I'm Allison Day with Remax Town and Country Realty, Central Florida. I cover the greater Orlando area, and I thought this would be a good time since we are pretty much wrapping up second quarter, midway through the year, to talk to you about a market shift. You guys have probably heard the term, you know, shift and stabilizing with regard to real estate. And I thought this might be a good time to explain what a market shift is. We as realtors tend to use lingo a lot and forget that not everyone knows what we're talking about. So, one of the things that determines a market shift is the number of properties available for sale. So, I'm sure have heard the term inventory. Our active inventory numbers have definitely increased, so they've shifted. And when I talk about our market area, like I said, we call it the Greater Orlando, Central Florida area. My market area are 6 counties covering Orange, Seminole, Osceola, Volusia, Polk, and parts of Brevard. So 6 counties. And when I'm talking about the properties on the market or sales and whatnot, we're talking about 5 different property types. So anything that's residential, single family home, freestanding single family home, a townhome, a condo, a villa, and a half duplex. So not a full duplex where you actually have 2 units in one, because that would be considered multifamily. So 5 property types. Okay, so keep that in mind. So first thing I'm going to talk about our current inventory. So for June, I'm going to compare June of now where we are now to June of 23. Currently, we have a little over 18,000 homes available for sale. So that's our inventory. Last year, this time, we had 11,000, just under 12,000, 11,892. So that's a 65% increase in inventory. That's a pretty big shift. That means that either new homes have been built, which I will tell you specifically in Osceola and Polk County, we are seeing a ton of new home starts. And so that's adding to the inventory. But also we do have actual sellers that have decided to sell their homes now. Either they are buying new inventory in Florida, they already had a home, they're downsizing, they're moving out of state, whatever it is, we are definitely seeing much more inventory hit the market. And the reason that this matters, especially to the consumers, the amount of inventory available is going to shift to the market. It's going to give buyers more opportunity. So simple supply and demand tells you when there's more supply, buyers have options. And that typically means prices come down and a product or property, in our case, takes a little longer to sell. Which brings me to June of last year. We had 5,614 sales. So compared to the number of active homes, that sounds like, we left almost 6,000 homes unsold. But while the numbers say that doesn't really mean that that's a lot. That's still a very tight ratio. For 24, we had 4,012 sales. So not only were the number of sales down by 30%, remember our inventory went up 65%. So that's a much larger ratio. That shift tells us things are absolutely slowing down. And brings me to the next shift that everyone asks me, are we shifting into a buyer's market? Obviously, for the last 3 years, we've been in a very, very strong seller's market. And one way, or the biggest way that we can tell what type of market we're in, is by the number of months of supply we have, or months of inventory. In real estate terms, a seller's market is when we have 5 months or less of inventory. A buyer's market is when we have 7 months or more of inventory, obviously giving a lot more supply. That sweet spot kind of in between the 5 to 7 months, really that 6 month. If we're at a 6 month of inventory, that means that we're in a balanced or stable market. In 23, we were at 2 months, just slightly over 2 months supply. So a 2-month supply of inventory or any month supply of inventory basically means if no other home was to enter the market and we saw the same amount of buyers, it would take 2 months to sell all of that product. Currently, we're hedging up to 5 months. So we've more than doubled our month supply. We're still technically in a seller's market. And you can see on this graph that we've got a little bit of ebb and flow, and we'll have some peaks and it drops back down. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you if it's going to drop back down, but given what we have right now and knowing what our market is kind of doing in our general area, it's safe to say that we're probably going to hover around the 4 to 5 month supply for a little bit. It varies by community, it varies by zip code, and obviously each home is unique and has some individual attributes that are going to appeal to certain buyers. So this isn't the only indicator, but it certainly tells us what the market's doing on a broad, in broad terms. If you'd like, I could give you a graph of your zip code. I could hone this down to be a little bit more specific to your area. If you're interested and curious about what's happening in your marketplace, feel free to reach out anytime. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening.